Anyway, this is just some random recording I want to do just because I've been playing this game for a while. I have no idea what this recording is. Honestly, I don't even know if this is even going to be good. Anyway, I just want to explain this character Rita because a friend of mine doesn't understand this character, and so I have no idea. So this is going to be the new character that's coming out, which is Rita. Her entire mechanic is basically using other people's cards to gain her own private AP to nuke. So if we look through it, I think you saw a screenshot of it, but we'll come back to that later. It's a very ugly looking card. But if we look through it, most of her mechanics are pretty central. This is probably one of the big cards out there where you're going to have Chrono Archon. And the unique part about this is that when a card is activated, regardless of how it's done, you get a Chronicle for the cost of it. So this is going to be very big for 9 when you use her Fighting Spirit. I forget what her 1 cost AP is. Because not only do you use Hue, which is a 3 cost card, you also use the Fighting Spirit, which is a 1, to gain a buff. So that's very important. Whatever. So... But this works with any kind of activation. This is going to be very good for Calipe whenever you use the Celestial activates. And then I don't even remember what a card is. But that's whatever. Cool bean. I pressed wrong. This one can be epiphanied for something else, but I'm not... You know what? I'm just going to skip through everything. There's only one other card that matters. This one. So Time Paradox is very important. So all of the cards that you're going to use in, whether it's through AP or whether you use Celestial, or however you get through all those other people's cards, Time Paradox is going to change all of her buffs into a Chrono Ascension, which is where you actually get a Rita specific AP. So the 2 cards that are important, which is Chrono Archon, her buff or initiation buff, as well as Time Paradox, those are the 2 important things. If you don't have them, I don't even know how this character functions. So we skip through. So explaining this part here, if you look at the top left of this, which I guess I'm terribly doing it, the idea is that we have a buff at the top left of her screen, which requires us, or which gives us the 4 gears. Okay, this is the Chrono Ascension itself, and the most important part about this is the fact that this is Rita's fake AP. This is a Rita specific AP. So this is where if we use Time Collapse here, which is a 2 cost card, it doesn't go into the 3 AP that's down here. It goes into wherever her Rita buff is, which is why we go from 4 to 2. And so then we use Fate Imprint, which is created by one another card. It doesn't matter. This is going to force us to use the Rita specific buff, which is in the 2 gears here. That'll go down to 2, and then its unique effect comes in where all the Fate Imprint becomes a 3 cost card. So this is where what the other people are, or what the demonstration is we're going to use other characters to use their APs. So that means that we use opening found, which decreases the AP down here. And we're going to use Charge Shot and then knock it out. So the AP that you use isn't really necessary. It's just the fact that those cards are used. We have a 1 cost card that was used, a 2 cost card that was used. Now we have the buff out there, which is 6. So just to rewind a little bit. So here we have 2. Now, I should probably mention, which is why I had the picture up there, this part. This is the only part where I'm going to say that this is the important thing, where there's a very specific epiphany that's happening right now, which is this one, where if you see it, it says when a card is activated, Chronicle gets, you get it from each cost. But then the unique part is when a Chronicle Ascension is removed, you gain 3. So that's why we start off with 3. There's that terminology that says Chronicle plus 3. Other than that, whatever. And so we move on. We use opening round and start shot plus 1, 2. And now Time Paradox comes in. So this is where basically, if you don't have this card in your hand, I don't know how the shoe functions. So there's going to be a lot of draw cards you're going to need for her. So once Time Paradox happens, you notice that it's a 6 gear, 6 numbers on the left, which is a smooth semicircle. This will change to a 6 with the gear side on the right. And so that's where, note, if you remember correctly, Fate Imprints, these 2 cards were not usable. But once we use Time Paradox, they're now usable. Even though we have 0 AP, we have 6 of Rita's fake AP that she's now going to use. So this is where we use Fate Imprint. It will remove 3, but we're breaking with this. And notice that it's a cost of 4, which technically we can't use, but it's now it's an addition from the 3 of Rita's fake AP with the 1 that we got from Broken. So 3 plus 1 gives us 4. We're now able to use it. Now this is a demonstration of you being more strategic of how you approach Rita. Because Rita is a weird character that is a DPS? It is a DPS, but it's like a weirdly selfish, but also... yeah, I don't know how to describe it. So this player, this demonstration is going to use Fate Imprint. So if you notice, we go from 6 to 4. And then now we're going to use Fate Imprint so that we go from 4 to 1 on the gear side. I know it's a time clock, but whatever. I'm going to call it a gear because it has teeth. So this is where, technically, if you notice, we get from 3 to 4, and technically you can just go on about your day and just use another Fate Imprint and be done with it. However, you want to be a bit more strategic on how you approach this because your goal is to use as much cards as you can before you use Time Paradox. And so that's where we get a unique epiphany for Fate Decreed right here, where it says activate 2 cost card, two random 2 cost card. And so therefore Anchor Shot, Power Anchor and Anchor Shot are going to be used by Haru. And this is going to be important where we have only, this is a 2 cost card. It's going to require 1 of Rita's fake AP as well as 1 of the actual pooled APs here. So you'll see this disappear as 1 from 1 to 0, and this will go down from 4 to 3. But because we used a card outside of Rita's AP, we get a Chronicle. So when the AP goes down, technically, not really because of the AP, but because the card is used outside of Rita's fake AP, from the gear side, we get 1. So we just refund it in a sense. So now these 2 cards are going to be used where we have Power Shot. Notice that we went from 1 to 3. And so then Anchor Shot will come back to give us 5. And again, notice that the pool AP is not used. Very important. Her buff is whenever a costed card is used. Not that the AP is going down. So that's why Anchor Point comes in to bring back Anchor Shot. We use up another AP here so that we can use up a 2 cost card to go from 5 to 6, which I guess is the maximum amount that you can carry. Then you go with Time Paradox, convert the 6 semicircles to a 6 gear side from left to right. And now we can use Rita's fake AP to use Fate Imprint, do a new. But because it's Fate Imprint increases the cost of all other Fate Imprints, we go from 4 to 5. But right now we don't have the total cost is of all the APs that are usable is 2 from Rita's fake AP with the 1 in the pooled AP, that's only 3. So therefore, this character, the player uses Rita's skill to get 6 carnal ascension. So that way we get all the way up to 8. And now Fate Imprint gets boosted from the ego skill anyway. And that's why a crit skill. And notice again, the pooled AP of 1 is not used. We get, instead, Rita's fake AP went from 8 to 3. Because it's 8 minus 5 gives us 3. And that's it. Good luck. There's an image of all the ascensions in there, or epiphanies out there. Whatever. That's a lot of explanations. Good night. Good luck.